All right, I think this is like the 10th page. Lesson 9, Unit 2. Unit 2, Lesson 9. It's whole, half, and quarter rest. So you just did whole, half, and quarter notes when you're doing these note values. In Lesson 8, Lesson 9 are doing its opposites. Um, so I taught you whole rest and whole note have the same first name, therefore they last the same amount of beats, and that is true. It also talks about how a whole note takes up the entirety of the measure, and the entirety of the measure in 4/4 time. If it was 2/4, you couldn't use a whole note. If it was 3/4, you couldn't use a whole note. But that's a whole other story. So a whole rest means you rest for the whole measure. There are lots of different examples about some things when it comes to whole rests. I'm going to move on and just have you say 4 beats, they take up the whole measure. This is the one where you find that fourth line and and it hangs from that fourth line. This is the upside down hat. So when we draw it by itself, it's this one. When we draw it in the staff, it looks like that. The half rest is equal to half of a whole rest. So if a whole rest is 4, the half rest is 2. It sits on the third line, so it's this rest, the hat. If you were to have a little stick figure running around your music, if he stood underneath it, it would look like he's wearing a hat. Yay! It sits on the third line. Fourth line for this one and third line for that one are particular. You must do it that way. The quarter rest, it's 1/4 of a whole rest. So if a whole rest is 4 beats, then 1/4 or 1/4 of that is going to be 1 beat. This one, as I've mentioned to you before, is harder to draw. My way, I do what's that, greater than sign, then a backward C. Kind of looks like the number 3, except for the top is like pointy and the bottom is curved. If you want to make it look prettier, then that's fine. If you want to make it look like mine, then that's fine too. Just make sure it's obvious. It's telling you a lot of equivalencies right here. It shows you how the notes and their relations to the rest, if they have the same first name, it's the same amount of beats. In 4/4 time, quarter rests are equal to 1 beat. Let me make sure you know where I'm writing. I have too much on the page. Okay, let's try that again. In 4/4 time, a quarter rest is equal to 1 beat. So that's 1 beat, that's 1 beat. In 4/4 time, a half rest is equal to 2 beats. And 4/4 time, a whole rest is equal to 4 beats. That's where, when they're saying in 4/4 time, that's where some exceptions can happen. And you don't need to know those unless you're going to continue doing music education for like a few different years or into college. If you ever were to have a piece of music with that kind of stuff in it, we can definitely teach you how to do it, but it's just not really necessary right now. Anyways, number 1, fill in the correct number. So how many of these equal this? How many of these equal this? How many of these equal that? How many of these equal that? So 2 half notes fit in a whole note. How many quarter notes fit in a half note? How many half notes fit into 4 quarter notes? How many whole notes fit into 4 quarter notes? In number 2, it's basically, it's the same thing but different answers. So how many, this one was how many half notes fit into a whole note. This is how many whole rests fit into 2 half notes. So you'd write a number. 1 whole rest equals 2 half rests. If I was going to do this one, okay, this is a half rest. How many half rests would be the same as 4 quarter rests? So how would I make it equal? How many of these do I need to equal that? If I number this 1, 2, 3, 4, but this one would only number 1, 2, I have to do some kind of adding. Try your best. Those can be tricky if you don't allow yourself to think a little abstract. Some of you might be a little concrete for that. Sorry, I'm trying to get my page cleaner. Okay. Trace the second quarter rest, then draw 4 more. So we're going to trace this one and then draw 1, 2, 3, 4 more. Fill in the second half rest, so like colored in better than I just did, and then draw 4 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Fill in the second whole rest, and then draw 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah, did it again. You're frustrating. Hello. There we go. My bad. Sorry about that. It doesn't like me going over to that little menu over there. All right, divide the staff into 4 measures with a double bar line at the end. That's what 6A is telling you to do. If you forgot how to do that, look at the previous pages. You did that already. Don't just sit complacently saying, I don't know how to do it. It drives me nuts. Add a 4/4 time signature. You learned about that on the last page. Then fill in the first bar with a whole rest, the second bar with 2 half rests, the third bar with 4 quarter rests, and the fourth bar with 1 half rest and 2 quarter rests. So basically, you're going to divide it into the measures. Remember, bar can equal measure. It's a pretty interchangeable word. I tend to use measure because that's what I learned, plus bar line and bar. I can get how it is. It's a bar and they're separated by bar lines. Yeah, I say measure. Moving on. So in like the first one, remember it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. You do the first one, you do the whole rest. Second, 2 half. Third, 4 quarter, and the fourth with 1 half rest and 2 quarter rests in that order. So half, then quarter, quarter. And that is the end of that.